Okay, picture this: a world with free, wireless power for absolutely everyone. A single global network for instant communication, broadcasting, you name it. Now, this isn't some sci fi dream from last week. This was a real project started over a century ago by one man, Nikola Tesla. This is the story of his world wireless system, a vision that, honestly, could have changed everything. You know, we've live in a world that is fundamentally built on Tesla's ideas. But so often, his name gets lost in the shuffle. This quote just nails it. He really was the unsung prophet of the electrical age. And the world wireless system? Well, that was probably his greatest and most ambitious prophecy. So, where did this unbelievable vision even come from? Well, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. Its roots are actually in his famous rivalry with Thomas Edison. After Tesla left Edison's company way back in 1885, he was completely determined to prove that his alternating current, or AC, was the future, and that Edison's direct current, or DC, was pretty much the past. And wow, did he rise fast? By 1887, he had his own company. Just 1 year later, his work on AC motors literally changed the world. This success made him a wealthy man. But instead of, kicking back and relaxing, he dove right back into his lab in 1889, completely obsessed with a brand new idea: high-frequency currents. And this is where his focus shifted from the practical stuff, like power grids, to something that looked like, well, pure magic. In his famous public lectures, Tesla would do things like create sheets of flame and light up glass tubes in his bare hands with no wires attached at all. He was showing people the impossible, right in front of their eyes. So how did he do it? What was the secret? Well, the engine behind all this magic was his own incredible invention, the Tesla coil. You see, it's a special kind of transformer that creates unbelievably high voltages at super high frequencies. This wasn't just for show. This was the key, the absolute key that was going to unlock his dream of wireless power. And check this out. This was his first big public proof of concept. In 1893, he sets up a transmitter with a Tesla coil to just pump energy into the air. Then, all the way across the room, there's a totally separate receiver, tuned to the exact same frequency. And the proof that it worked? A gas-filled tube in that receiver circuit just lit up. No wires, just pure wireless transmission of power. Incredible. After that demonstration, things just kicked into high gear. By 1897, he'd locked down patents so fundamental that the Supreme Court later said they came before Marconi's radio. In '98, he wowed the crowds by piloting a boat remotely. Every step was bigger than the last, and it all led him to Colorado Springs in 1899 for what would be the most important experiments of his life. Okay, so now his ambition wasn't just about sending power across a room anymore. Oh no. Up in the high altitudes of Colorado, he set out to prove a theory so radical, it's hard to even wrap your head around, that you could use the entire planet, the Earth itself, as a gigantic electrical conductor. And the scale of his idea, as you can see, was planetary. I mean, this wasn't about radio waves just going through the air like we use today. Tesla's idea was way bigger, way wilder. He believed he could send energy through the ground and the atmosphere, creating these electrical currents that would literally ripple across the entire globe. The lab he built for this was, well, it was something straight out of science fiction. A massive 200-foot tower topped with this giant copper ball. And inside was his magnifying transmitter, which was basically a Tesla coil on an absolutely epic scale, designed to pump raw electrical energy right into the planet. After his experiments in Colorado, Tesla was more sure than ever. In his mind, he had done it. He'd proven it was possible. He had the science down. He'd perfected the technology. The only thing left to do was to build the very first station for his global system. And that set the stage for his masterpiece. So, with the backing of the incredibly powerful financier J.P. Morgan, Tesla started construction out on Long Island, New York. And this wasn't just going to be another lab. This was Wardenclyffe, the very first hub in his planned world wireless system. And just to give you a sense of the scale here, the tower alone stood 187 feet tall over Long Island. It wasn't just a big building of wood and copper. It was designed to be the broadcast antenna for the entire planet. It was a monument to a future that felt like it was right there, just within reach. And just look at what this system was supposed to do. Now remember, this list is from the early 1900s, but it reads like a feature list for the modern internet. Global broadcasting, connecting all the phones, sending pictures and data wirelessly, a GPS-like navigation system, secure communications, even synchronizing all the clocks in the world. It was a vision of our connected world just 100 years early. But as grand as that dream was, its fall was just as dramatic. The incredible, world-changing vision of Wardenclyffe ran headfirst into the cold, hard reality of money and, well, a world that just wasn't quite ready for it yet. Yeah, this slide just shows the heartbreaking contrast perfectly, doesn't it? The project starts with this huge investment from JP Morgan, but by 1904, the money's all gone. Tesla's dream of a new age of communication just turned into a nightmare of foreclosure. And then finally, in 1917, that magnificent tower, this testament to his genius, was demolished and sold for scrap. It was just a slow, painful decline. After Morgan's money dried up, Tesla scrambled for years, trying to keep the project alive. He took out more loans, but his financial situation just completely fell apart. It's a classic cautionary tale, right? A visionary inventor who out-innovated his own funding, who just couldn't get his world-changing vision to line up with his investors' more practical goals. The demolition in 1917 wasn't just the end of a building. It was the end of his greatest dream. So does that mean it was all a failure? Well, the project itself, yes. But the vision? No way. The vision was absolutely correct. You see, Tesla wasn't wrong. He was just early. He had seen a future that the rest of the world would take another century to actually build. And if you need any proof of just how far ahead he was, just listen to this quote from 1908. He is, without a doubt, describing a smartphone. An inexpensive instrument, not bigger than a watch, that lets you hear anything, anywhere on the planet. I mean, to have predicted that over 100 years ago it's just stunning.
And that, right there, is his ultimate legacy. He may not have built the world wireless system himself, but the core ideas, the tuned circuits, the understanding of resonance, the whole concept of a globally connected network, all of it laid the foundation for the technologies that define our modern world.
Which leaves us with one final, fascinating question to think about. What if JP Morgan hadn't pulled his funding? If that tower had been finished and the system switched on back in the early 1900s, what would our world be like today? Would we have had a globally connected wireless planet a full century sooner? It's got to be one of history's greatest what-ifs.